In my review of the Paper Mario series, I called Super Paper Mario the Majora's Mask of the Paper Mario series. So what is so special about Majora's Mask? In this video, I hope to explain just that and why it is creepy as hell. Majora's Mask is a weird game. For starters, it was released less than 2 years after Ocarina of Time. Wait, what? Nintendo is supposed to be the king of polished games. Why would they only give a team a year to create a new game to one of their most beloved franchises? While, in actuality, it took them a year and a half to develop, elements of the short development time do show every now and again, but it is still on the Ocarina of Time engine, so the game ran just fine. I'll have the 3DS version playing in the background because it's prettier to look at than old N64 graphics. The story of Majora's Mask begins with Child Link from Ocarina of Time on Epona in a forest. Link is in search of Navi, who decided to peace out at the end of the last game. Epona is scared by two fairies who are sister and brother, known as Tattle and Tail. Get it? Tattle? Tail? It's pretty clever, actually. A Skull Kid with Majora's Mask appears out of nowhere and steals Link's Ocarina of Time in Epona. Skull Kid leads Link to a creepy cave, and after some impressive jumps by Link, he falls down to what seems to be a never-ending pit, which turns out to be a never-ending pit with a very convenient soft bottom. Skull Kid transforms Link into a Deku Scrub and leaves the room laughing. Tattle gets cut off, and she pretends that she never attacked Link and asks him to be a man and open the door for her. And the look on Link's face says everything. Yeah, man, I know exactly how you're feeling. They eventually escape the scary dungeon and find themselves in the presence of the Happy Mask salesman, who asks Link to find Majora's Mask. If Link does this, then he'll help him with the Deku situation. Link opens a large door and reveals the town of Clocktown, in a region known as Termina, which is a parallel dimension to Hyrule. It's a beautiful town, and holy shit, what is that? Is that a moon with a face? A face moon? Probably nothing to worry about. Eventually, Link faces the Skull Kid on top of the clock tower in Clocktown. Tail tells Link, well, that's a tongue twister, to head to 4 different areas. The moon, remember that horrifying thing, has slowly been falling down towards Termina this entire time throughout the 3 days. Skull Kid does some magic and makes it start falling down faster. The clock starts ticking, and Link manages to get his ocarina back by shooting snot at the Skull Kid and plays the Song of Time to return him to the day everything happened. I hope you don't mind playing the Song of Time too, because you'll be playing it over and over and over again. Link goes back to the mask salesman, who teaches Link to return him to his human elf self. Once the mask salesman discovers that Link doesn't have the mask, he activates his bitch face and tells Link that the world will end if he doesn't get the mask back. Link and Tattle then plan to go to the 4 locations Tail told them to go to in order to save Termina. We're probably all gonna die, honestly. The gameplay to this game is identical to that of Ocarina of Time. Actually, it's the exact same thing, to be honest. Some things are tweaks here and there, like making some enemies tougher, but for the most part, it's just the same. One change I don't like is not being able to save when you want to. Instead, this time, you find owl statues scattered throughout the land to save at that also serve as fast travel stations. I would have liked if I could save on the pause menu like Ocarina of Time, but it's a small complaint. A massive change, however, is that Link plays through the same 3 days throughout the entire game, as on the final night the moon is about to destroy Termina and Link has to return to the first day again. This sounds like it would get boring, but after the first time you do it, you get adjusted to the new system, and it fits in nicely. There's also songs that slow down time and send you to the certain hour you want to go to. Everything Link could possibly want is in Clocktown, which is a huge benefit since whenever you play the Song of Time, you will lose all of your items that have limited uses, like arrows and rupees. This time, you don't just play as Link. Well, sort of. You play as the before-mentioned Deku Scrub, a Goron, and a Zora. How do you do this, though? Every being that you play as was once alive, but when they died, their spirit becomes a mask that you can wear. This adds a whole bunch of new gameplay mechanics that have never been seen before in any other Zelda game. Each form has its own pros and cons to them as well. For example, Deku Link can hop on water a few times, but will drown on the last hop. But Zora Link is a swimming pro. Goron Link, on the other hand, sinks like a rock. It does give the game some cool depth. I love how, this time, all of the environments are fully 3D, with no pre-rendered backgrounds that were commonplace in Ocarina of Time. It helps the world feel more alive, as if Clock Town was just another pre-rendered background like Hyrule's Castle Town was, then it'd have less of an impact. Since this game was at the end of the N64's life cycle, developers knew how to crank the maximum amount of performance out of this, and it shows. We went from Mario 64, with very simple graphics, to a world that looks groundbreaking in comparison. While there is only 4 dungeons this time, the game is about the same length, if not longer, than Ocarina of Time. This is because of the build-up to each temple and the side quests that go along with them. The side quests are the meat and potatoes of this game, as they are everywhere. This game feels more open world than most Zelda games do. There is so much to do. Almost every character in this game has a side quest related to them. The best quests in this game involve Link getting a mask at the end. In total, Link can get 21 masks, not counting the 3 required ones. Some quests are simple, like somebody telling you their life story, while others take all 3 days to complete. The side quests help lend to the atmosphere of the game. This game has such a dark tone. Most Zelda games have dark themes at some point, but never focus on them too much. Majora's Mask almost gets away by shying away from these things, but always give you a piece of dialogue that reminds you how dire the situation truly is. Most people in Clocktown realize that they're all about to die soon by the moon. There are so many different emotions going on as people react to their death differently. Some defy the idea that the moon will crash, while others are absorbed by their coming death. You may have noticed by now that a lot of NPCs in this game are ripped straight out of Ocarina of Time. This is one of those things that shows the time constraints that were placed for Majora's Mask, but Nintendo gave it a decent reasoning with the whole parallel world thing. I find that even though they're the same models, they're far more memorable this time around, as they're actual characters with hopes and dreams this time around. Each of them has a story all their own to them. Some have fetishes, some have the will to never stop running, and some I can't figure out if they're a guy or a girl. It does feel like you're experiencing everything from the perspective of a child. There are times in Ocarina of Time where there was an adult theme in it, but because you're playing as Child Link, the game just said that Link didn't understand what was going on. Link sees all of the depression in the town, but doesn't really see it. He's more focused on the fun aspects of the adventure than to really think what people are sulking about. Speaking of Link, the game shows that he has grown up a little bit from Ocarina of Time. A single sound file that involves him doing any action has him giving off a deeper voice than his usual high-pitched noises. He's still a kid, yeah, but the world around him has grown up just a little, kinda like him. Not only that, but Link being able to carry a full shield this time around, and not stuck to one on his back, and wielding huge swords, shows just how much stronger he is. Those flips also show us parkour training, which is so cool. Anyways, by the end of the adventure, you have to wonder how much the journey has changed him. I mean, Azora literally dies in front of Link. This wasn't an enemy that puffed in the smoke or whatever, but the person actually died, and Link built a grave for him. Majora's Mask's story doesn't involve the Triforce or Hyrule at all. It's more of a side story in Link's adventure that will never be spoken about him in the Hyrule legend 100 years after he's passed. It shows Link after the storybook fairy tale that he was in. He's in a place that's more like real life than Hyrule ever was. This new world is not as nice as the land of Hyrule. Some people are mean to Link for no reason, and even some things like racism seep in when Link plays as the Deku scrub. Hell, dogs don't even like Deku Link. People don't talk to him as nicely as if he was a human, Zora, or Goron. There's one in particular who admits that she loves big, strong, hard Gorons. It goes even further with his companion Tattle. She's a f***ing bitch. Navi has a bad rep, but at least she was kind to Link and proper throughout the entire adventure. Now, Tattle is more of a character than Navi ever was, as she has a personality, but she's awful to Link the entire time. She's never grateful to Link throughout the entire adventure, and always makes fun of him in some way or another. The only reason she's with Link in the first place is for personal gain. She doesn't care about Termina, as she only wants to reunite with her brother. There are times though, when you see Tattle get lost in thought, and it seems like she might actually feel bad and regrets doing what she did. But then she smacks you in the back of the head and says, "What are you, retarded or something?" It all goes to show that Link is trying to do the right thing, but the world for the most part just doesn't care. The music in this game has some really good selections too. I don't agree with some people who say it's the best in the series, however. Sure, it has good music that stands out from the rest, just like every Zelda game, but I don't find the rest of the music too amazing. So Link went to all 4 areas Tail told him and Tattle to go to. It turns out that these areas hid temples that held bosses holding spirits within the masks they wore. The spirits freed were giant butt-nosed creatures. With all 4 of these abominations freed, Link heads up to the clock tower on the 3rd night to face Skull Kid. The situation plays like all the other times. Skull Kid starts to cause the moon to fall faster, but this time, Link has backup. He plays a song that one of the giants taught him, and the 4 giants appear from their respective areas. They grab a hold of the moon and keep it from destroying Termina. Skull Kid gets messed up because it really didn't like the song, and everything is over. Psych! Majora's Mask is actually a being all of its own that was controlling Skull Kid. It does some freaky magic and causes the moon to grow stronger, causing the giants to struggle. Man, these giants need to work out more. I can see them shaking. Majora creates a portal to the moon in which Link and... Oh, come on, Tattle! Tattle says that Link can go up to the moon by himself because she wants to save the brother and not save Termina. Only when Tail says that he'll go with Link does Tattle agree to go with Link. Ugh. I wish Tail had been Link's companion this entire time. Once you get on the moon, you aren't greeted to a rough surface like you'd expect. Instead, you get a lush green hill with grass as far as the eye can see. There's a tree on top of the hill with 4 kids running around the tree. Each kid wears a mask that each boss wore. If you were a good little mask collector, then you can complete each of the mini dungeons that the kids throw at you. At the end of each dungeon, you find the kid that you spoke to, and they give you a weird dialogue that makes it seem like you're the bad guy, and adds to the whole subtle dark theme of this game. If you complete all of the kids' dungeons, then you get the Fierce Deity mask. If you talk to the final kid who is wearing Majora's Mask, and is sitting all alone with the Fierce Deity mask, then he'll say that you two will play a game where Link's the bad guy, and the kid is the good guy. You're then transported to a small room where you put on the new mask you acquired. Link transforms into an adult version of himself with white hair and an awesome sword. Majora reveals herself and Link battles it. There are 3 stages to this fight where Majora grows more powerful each time. If you have the Fierce Deity mask, then this fight is an absolute cakewalk as Link fires freaking laser beams from his sword. Without the mask, it really isn't that hard either. It's a little bit of a letdown, but there's only ever like 1 boss fight in this game that was hard, and that was because of frustrating mechanics. Twin mode boss fight. Once you defeat Majora, the moon disappears from existence. The evil that was once in Majora's Mask is gone, and the masked salesman takes it and vanishes. That wasn't N64 tech that caused that for once. That was like totally intentional, and I don't understand it at all. Skull Kid goes back to normal as he was controlled like the Lord of the Rings ring with evil magic or whatever. Tattle and Tail forgive him and go back to being friends. Tattle says goodbye to Link. Oh, never mind. Guess what? Tattle tells Link to go fuck himself and shag a tree at the very end. She only gives you a wimpy thank you as Link rides away on Epona. You could have had all this, Tattle, but you chose to be a fairy bitch. So f*** you, Tattle. So, Link saved Termina. Yay! It's weird how much different the game really is to every other Zelda game out there. Usually it involves Link saving the world, but Link instead saved the region, but it feels far more rewarding than saving the world from Ganon, as you connect to the people in the area. Majora's Mask didn't hit me on an emotional level that would make me cry, though it does have some sad moments for sure with the Song of Healing. It did make me think about the themes it presented, about the wonders of life and the acceptance of death. I had a lot of nostalgia when I played this game. I played Ocarina of Time first, but when I played this, I knew this game was weird as a kid, but I didn't know why. Since this game, no other Zelda game has had themes truly as dark as this. It was interesting to see the life of a hero after his epic adventure that you don't see very often in Zelda games. Sure, you see some sequels to certain Link stories like Wind Waker and Phantom Hourglass, but this one told the tale of a young hero who went on a journey that changed him more than his first quest. It kinda does feel like we slowly witnessed this Link grow up over the years from a happy little child that became a hero and finally into a kid who grew up a lot after witnessing a lot of things a kid shouldn't have to see. This game holds a special place in the franchise. You don't have to look long to see all of the fan projects in the community. People are absolutely crazy for this game. It left an impression on a lot of us, including me, making it so we'll never truly forget about it. Thank you for watching. Remember to subscribe if you liked this video. Let's get a discussion going, because I'm genuinely interested. What is your guys' favorite Zelda game? Maybe your favorite is Spirit Tracks, and hey, I'm not judging. I'll let the internet do that for me. Unless it's Zelda CDI, in which case, you can go fuck